Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we will talk about what all data sets available into the Delta Life table. Or in simple terms, you can think of in how many forms you can save your data into Delta Life table. Okay, so Delta Life table provides you three different ways to store the data. The first one is the streaming table. Okay, the second one is your materialized view. Okay, and the third one is called view. So these are the three different data sets which you can create while working with the DLT. Now the question on how to define and when to define, right? Or which one should we use? That's the main point. Okay, so let's first go through like when to use which one. Okay, first we'll go and try to understand when we need to use any one of these data sets. Okay, so as the name suggests, right, streaming, right? So whenever you are dealing with the streaming data, okay, you will create, or as I said, the DLT is a declarative framework, right? It will handle couple of things internally, right? It will create for you. Okay, you just mention, okay, I'm using an autoloader to read the data and I want a table and it's a streaming data. It will automatically create one streaming table data set for you. Okay, so whenever you have to deal with streaming, you will create streaming table. Okay, when you want your query to compute incrementally, right? It means it means whenever you want your data to keep on appending into the table, right, you should go ahead and create the streaming table. Okay, and the third thing is the most important, even though incrementally, but you want a very high throughput, right? Very high throughput, right? Then I think you should go ahead and create a streaming table, because you want high throughput and low latency, right? So you can go ahead and create a streaming table. Now when to use materialized view? Okay, now the next question is like when to use materialized view, right? So whenever you want to query your data, right, during the development, correct? Whenever you want to query your data during the development, okay, and you want to physicalize your table, right? Even though streaming tables are also physicalized, but in the materialized view, you are dealing with some static source of data. Okay, you wanted to capture some static source of data, right? It means you will be doing here like spark dot read, and here you will be doing a read stream, right? So it will create streaming table for you, and this one will create materialized view for you. Okay, so whenever you are dealing with some static data, you should go ahead, or if you don't create, it will automatically create the materialized view for you. Okay, even if you say I want a table, it will create a materialized table for you. The DLT will create automatically. Okay, we'll see practically as well. Okay, now second thing is whenever you want to perform some deletion in your data tables, right, or you wanted to perform some aggregations, right? Okay, or you wanted to perform some SCD 1 or 2, right? You should better go ahead and create the materialized view, because you want to physicalize it, right? Because you wanted to later on query this data set based on your requirement. Okay, now when to create the view? And remember, whenever I'm talking about the views, these will be your temporary views. When I say temporary, as soon as the pipeline will end, you will not be able to access this view, because it will be available, or the life of the view will be available until the pipeline is running. Okay, correct? So when you don't want to physicalize your data, or you don't want to publish your data, right, you just wanted to query it, right, for some reason. Okay, you don't want to publish your data, then you should go ahead and create a view. Okay, or if you need some data which later on you are referencing in your pipeline, right, like you wanted to perform some data qualities, right? you can use view, right? Because it will filter out the data and then later on you can take the data and store it in some other table which you wanted to physicalize, right? But to just to filter out, you can use a view so that it won't physicalize that particular data, right? Or if there is a large or complex query, right, you wanted to divide that query, right, to maintain it easily, you can go ahead and create a view. Okay, so these are the three different data sets available into the delta live table, and you can create these, any of these based on your use case, right? And based on whatever you use, even the DLT itself will understand, okay, which one I have to create. Okay, that's the beauty of DLT. So let's go to the practical part and see how it actually creates. Okay, let me just quickly switch over to my DLT workspace. So this is the Databricks. Okay, let's run this code. This is quite normal. It's a normal import statements. Then I'm creating a schema, and then I have some configuration cloud file. I'm saying that I wanted to read the CSV files. Okay, okay, and remember I'm using a unity catalog, because with the delta live table, if you wanted to really leverage the benefits of delta live table, you have to use the your unity catalog. Okay, so let's see how we can create a streaming table first of all. Okay, so let's say I'm defining a function and I'm naming this function as my branch load. Okay, now I will write df equal to spark dot read stream, as I said, right? Then format. Then I will say I wanted to use the autoloader. So I don't have to explicitly do any of the settings. I can simply use cloud files. Okay, the format will be cloud files. Then options. Okay, and this cloud file options which I have created, I'll use it. You can add as many as options you want. Okay, and then the schema which I have created, right? I'll use that schema, and then I have my volumes. So you must be familiar about, like, you can store the data into ADLS or other sources, right? You can store it. Now in the Unity catalog, you have a feature, you can create a volume. Volumes are nothing but the mount point you can think of. Okay, it will give you a mount point, okay, by which you can access your data. Okay, so let me open that mount point I have created inside this volume. This is my mount point, and if you see here, I have two CSV files as of now. I can upload more, but just for the reference, because my focus is to show you the data sets, not the streaming part here. Okay, yeah. So this is my volume path, or you can say my mm, basically the mount point of my ADLS, where I have kept some files. Okay, and then from this function I will return this df, right? So it's a normal function, right? We generally create. Now what is the what all now how to use the framework on top of it, right? That's the benefit, right? We are not leveraging the framework as of now. We are just creating a simple function which will read the data and all, right? Now I will tell him that create this as a table. Okay, I'm saying create it as a table. I'm not saying it's a streaming table or materialized view. I'm just saying create it as a table. I'll run it. Okay, now if you remember in my last lecture, I told you that you cannot actually load the data while running the notebook. And as you can see here, right, see, it says it has created one delta live table, okay, with this data set as a schema. But if you wanted to really populate this table, you have to create a pipeline. Otherwise it is of no use. It won't load it. It will just verify the schema and it will tell you like what exactly it's returning. Okay, so what I will do, I'll create two tables here. Okay, let's say this is my bronze load for static data. Okay, static, and this time I will say don't use read stream, let's just use read. See, I'm not changing the annotation still. Okay, now the DLT is enough smart to understand, okay, this is a static read, so I don't have to create any delta live table. I have to create any streaming table, I have to create a materialized view. Okay, so even if I run this, as such there is no difference. You will what is the issue? Let me just quickly see. Yes, check the classroom. Okay, so it is saying that you cannot use cloud files because you are not reading read stream. So I just have to use CSV. Okay, because cloud files are anyways, as I told you, right, you are using it just for the streaming purpose, right? So see, it says it's a DLT, right? But as such you don't see any difference here, right? The only difference is here we are seeing cloud files and here we are seeing here static read. Okay, static data annotation is same, right? Now let me try to run, create a pipeline out of it. Okay, let's create a pipeline. Okay, let's say my pipeline, let's is lecture 2. Okay, we'll talk about these modes and everything later on, but as of now I'll just use this notebook. See, I have created it from here, so that's why it's automatically used this as a source code. Okay, I can physicalize the tables in the Unity catalog. As I said, I have the catalog available with me, so I will use the Unity catalog, and I have a schema as well. I'll use that. And then if you have any cluster policy, will you can use it, but yeah, we will talk about it later on. How many nodes you want? Let's say I wanted a fixed node. I don't have much code, so I'll use just fixed node. And preview, because there are few features, as I said, is still in the preview, so I'll use the preview one. Let's create it. Okay, now our pipeline is created. If you see here, one of the pipeline is created, like 2. Okay, I will start this pipeline and I'll pause the video here for some time and we'll see the output once it is done. It will take some time to start and create the resources and everything you can see here. See, so it's waiting for the resources. It will take 7 or 8 minutes because it takes some time. So I'll pause the video for some time and then we'll come back. Okay, so the pipeline is completed now, and if you see here, there are two tables created. One is static load and the other one is the normal one, right? And if you see closely, right, it is creating it as a streaming table, right? And this one is created as a materialized view, right? So that is the difference, how you can create a materialized view and how you can create a streaming table, or how exactly delta live table create these data sets. Okay, let's see how we can create the view as well. Okay, so yeah, and before this, right, when I was running this pipeline, right, earlier, I got an error actually. And the issue is I had some limited cores available in my region, right? So that's the reason I got this issue. Okay, so I did one configuration to use very less worker and cluster node and very small type of cluster I am using now, so that I am able to run this pipeline. Okay, that was the limitation with my available code, so you don't have to worry about it. And I have to actually terminate my cluster as well because some of the resources the cluster was using. Okay, so let's see how we can create a view now. Okay, so DLT dot view, this is the annotation which is given by the delta live table if you wanted to create a view. Okay, right? And now I can actually use, I mean, basically what I can do is I can actually create a view by using, or by reading any of these above tables, I can simply say. Okay, so let's say I'll create a view def, and this is my, let's say, data quality function. You can name it anything. Okay, I'm just naming it as, okay, and let's say it's a view. And what I can do is I can simply say DLT dot read stream. Okay, because I wanted to read the data from the streaming table, so that's why I use read stream. Okay, and now I will use this table name, bronze load. Okay, this is my table name from where I wanted to read some data. I wanted to perform some operations. You can do all your checks and everything here, and then in the end you can return this df. Okay, so I created a view from a streaming table. Okay, in a similar way you can create a view from the normal table as well. Okay, the static table as well, there is no limitation altogether. You can use this, and that's it. So I created two views, one from the streaming, uh, the other one is from the materialized view. So let's run this code and see what lineage it's create, okay, and how exactly it's reflecting. So if you see, as of now, these two tables are only created, right? Let me run it again. I will run as a full refresh. We'll talk about what are the different type of runs available and why these are available later on. But let's say I'm doing a full refresh. Full refresh here means like load everything from the scratch. Okay, just erase whatever you have in the target table, just remove it internally and then reload everything. Okay, so this time if you see, it's not waiting for the resources because the resources is already available with him. I just now ran the previous pipeline, right? So the resources are available. It will be there by default for 20 or 30 minutes, I think. Okay, and if you're running your pipeline after 20 or 30 minutes, then it will again start creating the resources. Okay, but if you just ran it maybe in last 10 or 5 minutes, you have the resources available, so you can just simply run it. Okay, now you see the beauty right here, the delta table, and you see the lineage, right? It's creating. So you can create a view from the delta table, and you can create a view from the materialized view as well. And this is not physicalized, right? So you'll not be able to see these tables at all. So if I go to my catalog, my Unity catalog, okay, if you remember, I used one of the schema, POC schema, and you see, what is the schema? Let me see. Yeah, this is the schema which I was using, right? The schema catalog, bronze load and bronze static, but I don't have any table for the views which I have created. Okay, so this is how you can create the views and the tables, right? Or the different type of data sets available in the in the in this DLT. Okay, now I wanted to explain one more last thing without wasting much of the time, right? So if you see this notebook, okay, you can go to the notebook from directly from here, go to settings, you can open it. Okay, let me do it from here. This is the one, recent one, right? Yes. No, my bad. Two. I hope this is the one. Okay. Yeah. So this is the view which we have created, and this is the tables, right? We have created, and you see the table names are created as a function name, right? Directly. Correct. But what if you wanted to create a function with a different name and the table with a different name, right? You have this feature, right? It's not like you cannot define your own things here, right? You can define. There is no as such constraint available. Okay, the only thing is if you wanted to do this, right, the only part you have to think about it, how you wanted to declare those things over here, right? How you wanted to name your table and other things, right? So what you can do, well, I wanted to show this one to you. Okay, what you can do is you can use this function. As I said, this is nothing but the function in my first lecture, right? As I've shown you, right? So it has a parameter called name. Okay, and you can pass your name here. Let's say my table should be this is my branch read load here. Okay, and in the similar way you can create here as well, branch read, instead of read I'll say read stream load. Okay, so now when I run this table now, okay, when I run this code now it will create the table from this name, using this name. Okay, it won't even create a table with these names. Okay, that's the benefit. This is the way you can pass your names to the function as well. Let me quickly run it also. Okay, this was the pipeline. I'll simply full refresh again. It won't take much time because the resources should be available. It will quickly We'll create. And you see the benefit? See, it stores your previous information as well. Okay. So these are all benefits given by the DLT, which was not available into the normal, the notebooks when you create, right? So let's see. Okay, something happened. Failed to read data from bronze static load. Oh, okay, my bad. See, what I did was I changed the table names, right? Bronze read load, bronze load read stream load, right? I created these two tables, and here I'm trying to read from the different tables which are not available. That's where the issue came. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just quickly change the name as well. My bad, sorry. Okay, let's run this now. Okay. And I'll be sharing this code in the comment box. You can click on the link and you will get this code available for you. If you wanted to practice it, you can use it. Okay, that will actually help you guys. For the DLT, for the live table, for the pipelines, you can create it manually. It won't take much time. It will simply a 1 minute job. Okay, you can do it. Let me know if you face any issues, and if you have any questions, please write it into the comment box. I'll try to answer as much as possible. And yeah, I hope it will help you guys. So you see this? Now it's creating the table with the name which I gave, right? Which not the name which function took, right? And you can get your details here as well, like how much time it actually took and how much time it actually ran, right? The full pipeline 59 seconds, but the execution time, the actual runtime is 57 seconds. Okay, so I hope this video will helpful for you guys. I don't want to stretch it. We will talk about the other feature in the next video. Thank you. Thanks for watching this video. Bye.